absolutely gorgeous out. 77 right now. Everything is blooming. Just want to give a toast to tomorrow's eclipse, solar eclipse, April 8th, 2024. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the solar eclipse and the kingdom. On the solar eclipse, I want to just mention that this is an incredible time to live in. We get to see all these happenings in the end times and everything, and it's passing through Texas. So I want to give a mention to the clip I saw last night on Bo Polny, spelled P-O-L-Y-N-Y. Okay? He has a woman named Sheila, and she talks about what is passing through on all these states with the solar eclipse. And one of the places, landmarks of the cross, is in Kerrville, Texas. My family and I went there some years back with our dogs, and it's going to be a landmark as well with the solar eclipse. And I'm really glad that we were going to go on a family trip because there's this enormous cross in the high elevation, and it's one of the tallest crosses in the U.S. They make a mention there. So I mentioned that because tying in with the kingdom, that whatever we do, even places we go for God, altars, landmarks, it all counts. And I'm really glad we were able to go that weekend, because I can say I've gone and we've actually prayed up there and we took some photos and everything with our dogs. And here it is, you know, it's amazing what they talk about, referring to the solar eclipse that's passing through and everything. Okay, on the kingdom, I want to mention some of these passages. I'll put them up for you. Time, money, this and that, just feeling afraid to step forward. And I might start my writings and I don't always finish them. So to me, I think, wow, you know, God really placed on Max to propel all his gifts. I mean, he used leverage through other people. They've, I'm sure, endorsed some of his products. You know, it's not all him signing off on, okay, this is my product, I made it. But I just think, I find that really inspirational, and it hits home for me, you know, that I need to get to some of these things, and time is running out. So I want to mention to you about the kingdom, okay? And it fascinates me because none of us have lived in a kingdom. The true kingdom is when Jesus is going to come back in the rapture, reign in Jerusalem physically. Everything's going to be utopia. Yeah, everybody's going to be happy. We're gonna wake up. Well, duh. People are gonna wake up and we're gonna just feel really good every day. We're gonna just jump out of bed and everything is hunky-dory, you know? So, of course, he's going to operate totally different and set the ultimate example in justice. So, what I want to say about the kingdom, and it fascinates me because I've watched things like, I'm sure you have, about castles and these gorgeous, lush landscapes, these households that, you know, you have servant upon servant, teams helping the family, everybody works for the family, the royal So I started looking up some things about kingdom. You've got your subjects, which are the people, royals, and everybody votes and works for the king, that family. The problem is, you have a person like Hitler ruling, and I don't want to bring politics in today's day of what's going on with our government, but you have the wrong kind of person that's a dictator, and everything's just going to go. I mean, people are going to be mad, and, you know, life is just going to be chaotic for the most part, because things aren't in order, people are being out of justice. So, I want to harp on and just expand on kingdom, where there's such an excellence, standards. People don't cross the line, you know? You do not mess with the king. So let's say it's a great king ruling, and that king is truly on behalf of working for the people, and all the decisions he makes with his family, say his wife, his panel, they're moving forward so they can really help the people, okay, across the board. And people feel it. They see the results, okay? They're not getting taxed high. They're having plenty of food. There's plenty of work around. You name it. And it also affects the earth, because in the passages in the last few years, I learned that quality decisions, and when we live righteous for God, it also affects the entire earth. I mean, the earth, the grounds are all breathable, and all our sins affect the world. Every place we live in, it affects even the rains, right? I mean, that's crazy, where God will bring more rain, He'll bring better weather, better crops, more joy, when we just follow in His statutes, and that's His word. So we just need to go back to that. You know, I'm back to Bo Pony's video last night. I watched on the eclipse, and if you don't have a chance, if you can get a chance to watch it, just do it. It's a longer one, but it's amazing on the lineups and biblical codes for what this eclipse is about. So I am saying that because what I was saying was about the decisions we make and everything, and even in that clip, there's a woman they mentioned that took prayer out of schools. And look what's happened to all our schools, our children. They've become rebellious and a lot of things. They feel entitled, right? And that was with purpose. And even God has grace, because that woman that took prayer out of schools, that was her mission, she turned back to God. She repented and believed she got saved. So there is hope for anybody that's done anything that's going against God. So take a look at his episode. He has a new book out. We just ordered it today. It's a pre-order, and I'm looking forward to getting it next month. So back on this kingdom, you know, what does that mean? It means having standards, having where you don't cross the line. You know, people have really crossed the line in this day and age compared to our parents' time, our grandparents' time, and we've just gotten away from respect, honor, loving people, you know, all of that. And it all comes back around, and we're paying for it. So I just want to say that with the kingdom living, I mean, you can make decent decisions, better decisions, or best decisions. And so if you're having a kingdom mentality, you're going to think ahead on, okay, what's the long term? What are the best decisions for this family? And, you know, even from your yard, you're going to have an amazing yard. Things are going to be run like a well-oiled ship. You know, and like back to the yard though, I remember looking at these episodes of incredible castles and yardscapes. I mean, I'm thinking of my grandma that had really high lilacs, and we could smell them. My family would go through the yard and we would just smell her lilacs. You know, they were so nice and established. I tried to grow the blue hydrangeas, and they just did not take for Texas. You have to have really great soil, water them well, and my dog, my pointer, uprooted the one that was about a year old. So much for that, and I have not gone back to replant. One day I might have some really nice hydrangea bushes though in the lilacs. So anyway, you think of all the people that are behind the kingdom family, the yard people, the governess for education. They're all well educated, you know, amazing dinners. Everything is just to the T. So I feel like, you know, how many of us really operate like that for our own families? And they're wealthy, right? Unlimited amount of money. They have various businesses, lucrative businesses. So the thing too is generational. So these decisions in a kingdom household, and that's what we can focus on. I don't have kids, but the decisions I make, if I had them, if I had kids, go into the next generation of kids. So you're gonna operate totally different to commoners, to what you know. So you're gonna have a lot of goals, you're gonna have plans, you're going to work your plan. So in closing, I just want to say I have an interest in kingdom, and we know Jesus is coming back. This morning I read in Matthew 24 towards the end. I can put that up. It talks about Jesus coming back. So the rapture will happen in our life. It can in our lifetime. And so I want to say it was after, if you read it, it's after the abomination of desolation. So that's about 3.5 years into the tribulation. That's halfway. And the full, we know, is 7 years. That's going to occur after the Temple Mount abomination of desolation with this animal sacrifices. So we know Jesus made the ultimate sacrifice on the cross. We do not ever have to do that again. Ever, ever, ever. And the Antichrist will perceive people to do that, especially the Jews. And many, many Jewish people, as much as they love the Lord and as much as they have all these statues and know the Torah, they're going to be fully deceived. There's going to be so many people in hell because they believe the Messiah is going to be the Antichrist. That's what I've studied out. That's what the scriptures talk about. So I just want to say this is very soon. Jesus is coming back. We've been hearing this from the channels, but he is in the rapture. He's going to rule our kingdom. And, you know, again, this is after the peace treaty is signed in Israel. So, and after the Temple Mount is built. They already are starting to build the Temple Mount, and it'll probably take about a year. Urban Baxter had talked about it for many years. He has a school. So we're so close. I mean, we're very close. Within a year, maybe, that Temple Mount will be built. And then, who knows? Let's say 3.5 years, 2024, April 7th, 2024. 3.5 years from now, Antichrist, and the Antichrist will expose who he is. So, I just want to say again in closing, to operate, even myself, to operate as though I'm part of the kingdom here on earth. You know, the decisions I make, the way I live, the actions I take. There's another passage I put up. This is on having goodness and being positive. You know, there's so much now in this like kumbaya beliefs of New Age and yoga and everything, of manifesting, being positive, being light. Well, look at the word, this passage right here talks about being positive. That when we focus on good, more good will develop. And yes, we need to manifest what's good because we're focusing on the joys of God. We're focusing on going forward. We're focusing on the results and great things to come. So I really got something out of that last week when I read into it, that we need to focus back on, it's about God's goodness. That's part of the solution of the world. There's so much going on in the world. People are dealing with a lot in their households. And I thought, bam, this is part of the answer. Focusing on the goodness, because out there, people are really emphasizing how bad the economy is. There's no jobs, you know, how bad kids are, all this stuff going on, even with traffic, with overpopulation. And at the end of the day, you know, whatever we focus on grows. So there's power in that. God's given us power to focus on the right things.